Some people, for some reason, still don't realize that I do have an Xpeng G6 here. I've had one for, I don't know, a while now. I drove a test car for, I think it was about just under 3,000 kilometers when I took it on a test drive from Newcastle down to Melbourne, up into the mountains in the Alps, in the snow. With my boys, we went hiking, camping, and then we drove back home to Newcastle. That was a big test drive, but I have delivery of my actual car now. It's black on the inside, black on the outside.
All right, start now.
Hey guys, here with Paul, National Manager at Xpeng. This is the guy that makes everything happen. Paul, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Enjoy.
Had to wait a little while because I ordered the wrong spec. People keep asking, where's your car? Here it is. So finally got it. But yeah, I ordered the wrong one and they fixed me up, worked it out. I've got to do an over-the-air update when I get home because that will have some new features. Like Tesla, gonna have Sentry mode, and I'm pretty excited. Got some new wheels coming, which are gonna have those new EV tires to check out, the new 1 inch smaller rims to see. I think we can get about 650 kilometers of range. Yeah, that's what I think. So guys, stay tuned to the channel to find out what I get from the G6. Okay, let's get in there. All right. Why is it black? Well, I just think it looks better. That's my personal taste. Why is it black on the inside? I have two boys and they do stuff. That we go surfing, we ride bikes, they wreck stuff. That's what boys do. They're aged 8 and 11. And the 11-year-old in particular, he's pretty rough. He's pretty strong and he's pretty big and he wrecks stuff. That's just the way he is. So that's why I got black. Imagine if I had white, it'd be just marks all over everything. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Great to have you with us. A lot of information out there. I just thought I'd correct some of the false facts. Okay, the Xpeng G6, yes, it can charge at up to 290 kilowatt. It says 280, but it's actually 290. I've achieved 290 on a 350 kilowatt charger. You can charge the car in around 20 minutes from 10 to 80% with the right charger, of course. Now, if you get a car and you say to yourself, well, I plugged my car in, it only went to 100 kilowatt. Well, guys, generally the bottleneck is not your car, unless you've got a BYD or MG and it's limited to that particular charging speed. Generally, the bottleneck is the charger. So if you've got a faster charging EV, like say a Hyundai Ioniq 5, or even a Tesla Model Y long range, or a Tesla Model 3 long range, or Porsche Taycan, or an Xpeng G6 that can charge at around 300 kilowatt. Generally, the reason you're going to achieve that speed is not because of the car. It's not some fault with your car. I've been seeing this on the internet. It's because the charger, it's what it's capable of sending to your car. So you're just going to be dependent upon that charger, not on the car. Yeah, there's other things like battery preheating, but generally the real reason is the charger. Anyhow, my experience today, guys, I drove to the zoo with my boys and with Shanna. I know a lot of you are curious to hear how she's going. To be honest, at the moment, not great. I'd love if she did a short video for you guys and gave you an update, but I don't want to push her to do that. She's normally not feeling the best, but she did come today, so that was good. She came to the zoo with us, and we drove a fair way today. It was a pretty decent long trip.
Oh, the camel's back. He knows where the food is, doesn't he, Cal?
Hello.
He might bite your hat, Cal. They're tasty, those hats.
Food, that hat. I drop it. Oh.
Jack, it's trying to eat the tree.
What?
It's trying to eat that little tree.
Trying to eat that tree.
I think they put it there, Jack, to try to get the giraffe to come down so people see it.
Yeah, maybe on a stone piece. His tongue's like blue.
It is getting it.
Its tongue's blue.
Blue tongue giraffe, probably a hybrid.
Smells weird.
No, she's like giant one. Look at that.
Well, there you go.
Its tail looks like a rope tied to its butt.
The car was great, no issues at all. I have gotten used to the power. I like the EV power. The range is fantastic. I'm getting energy efficiency, interesting, about 17 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, which is pretty good because if you look at some of its rivals, say, for example, BYD's new EV, which is a rival to it, the new Sea Lion 07, that gets around about 20 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers in tests that I've seen. So it's definitely a bit more efficient than some of its rivals. It's also, part of the reason for that is it's pretty light. Because it has gigacasting front and the rear, two large pieces, it weighs, 300 kilograms less than the equivalent, or 350 kilograms actually, so about 750, 800 pounds less than the equivalent BYD. But it's a similar weight to a Tesla Model Y. So it's around 2,000 kilograms, it's, about 4,400 pounds approximately. Now, accessories, guys. I have purchased some stuff for my car from EV Trove. EV Trove, I'll put a link in the description to their website. I have purchased some kind of cool things that go in your car. One of them goes in front of the touchscreen. It's like a little container thing you can put stuff in front of the touchscreen, and you wouldn't even know it's there. If you got in the car in the passenger seat, you would not know it's there, but it's a really handy storage area. Now, I've purchased some other little storage pieces like that can go in the center console. The center console is so massive, it's sort of something you wouldn't use. So if you buy this little plastic thing you can put in the top of the center console, you can then therefore use the top and the bottom of that center console area, which is huge. It's like a Tesla Model Y with the cavernous storage space. I bought a few other things. I bought mats for the car. They were about $150. You can find them anywhere. I bought a mat for the rear of the car. Now, should you get PPF on your car? Yeah, I would. I recommend doing that. I recommend getting PPF. I didn't get it on my car done by the dealership. I've gotten it done here up in Newcastle. Now, I would get it done by the dealership, but for reasons I wasn't able to at the time. So yeah, if people have been asking me, sending me messages, sorry, I can't respond to them all, but would I recommend getting PPF and tinted windows done at the dealership? I would. The price is reasonable. So that's what I would do. I don't think dealerships really make any money out of it. It's a very small amount of margin that would be involved. So yeah, it's also quality. They're guaranteeing it. If you get PPF, I've gotten PPF done on previous cars in my experience. If you get the cheap stuff, it's crap. It's garbage. There's no point putting it on your car. It just wears off. It's completely useless. And I recently got some PPF done on a car a few years ago. I paid, I think it was $1,500. And guess what they did? They sanded back one panel on the car and took off the paint. And it took 6 months for me to organize getting the car repainted with the company that they wanted to get it done with. And then to get PPF put back on, it was like 4 trips. It was a nightmare. It was so much of my time. I don't recommend doing that. I recommend if you can, get the dealer to do it and just get it done straight away. PPF is good. It protects your car. It's worth doing. Tinted windows, well, they're good for the heat. If you live in a hot climate, I recommend doing those as well. There's one other change that I'm looking to make. I'm looking to put some smaller wheels on my car. I have organized those. I just haven't gotten around to putting them on yet. I'll keep you posted on that. Now, here's my current settings that I use for the G6. I turn the lane control off. So you can have it on where it'll drive the car, kind of drive itself, sort of like Tesla Autopilot. I don't have that turned on. I just use the semi-autonomous cruise control, where it's like radar cruise control. It'll slow down all the way down to stopping completely behind another car. And then you just press the accelerator when you're going again at the traffic lights, and you don't have to do anything. You just tap your foot on the accelerator, then take it off, and then the car accelerates again away. So I drove, a couple of 100 kilometers today, and that's how I drove the car. And most of the time, I didn't need to press the accelerator. I could just use the semi-autonomous cruise control. It works quite well. And I think that for me, that's what works the best. Now, not everyone likes to do that. Some people might like to use the lane keeping autonomous cruise control. I had that turned off though, because I find that it doesn't always work perfectly. It's not bad, but it's not perfect. Now, in terms of charging the car, I charge it only from the solar from my roof. That's it. I do not use any power at all from the grid. Zero. I've used not even a single 5 cents worth of power from the grid. I use only solar. And if you haven't got solar, get it immediately. It is, if you haven't got solar on your roof and you have a roof that can have solar on it and you're not renting your house, you're just simply burning money. It's that simple. So if you want to use the solar company that I use, they're called Resync Solar. They are the best rated company in Australia by far, easily. I'll put a link in the description to their company. I don't make any profit from telling you that, by the way, but get it. It's amazing. You can charge your EV. It's free. Every time you get in your EV, it's a great feeling to say to yourself, hey, I am using EV power right now. I'm not using any other power at all. It's just solar power that's free, and I'm traveling for free, essentially. Now, the other settings that I have, guys, is I have Regen on full. I believe there's either 3 or 4 settings for Regen, and I have it on full. So I have it on the full X pedal. It's called X pedal. Can you completely stop the car like you can in a Tesla Model 3 or a Model Y? Not yet. Now, I've heard Xpeng are working on this. It almost comes to, it'll come to a complete stop in some cases, but in some it won't quite come to a complete stop. It's not like a BYD where you really won't come anywhere near it to a stop. It's very, very close. And in some instances, it will completely stop. In some instances, you will have to press the brake pedal. I think Xpeng are working on that. It's a software update which will enable complete one pedal driving, but it is nearly one pedal driving. And that's how I drive it. I drive it with the X pedal on. That means you're going to get more battery regen. So you're going to get more range. If you don't have X pedal on and you say stuff online, I got this much range, you're not really telling the truth, because really you're just using your brakes and you're not doing what you should be with an EV, which is recharging your battery, which is why I personally won't buy an EV unless it has proper regen, proper full regen. I did buy the BYD 803 because at the time there wasn't really much choice. But now that there is choice, I'll never buy a car ever again that doesn't have virtually full regen, like the Xpeng G6 does. It's pretty close, 99% of the way there. We'll be hopefully 100% of the way there soon. I also drive it in sport, in the full sport mode. And the reason for that is it firms the handling up. The handling doesn't feel very light. A lot of EVs have super light handling. Like it's just like the steering was like this. And it's really, really easy to turn the wheel. It doesn't really feel, to me, it doesn't feel quite right. But when you've got it in sport mode, it actually firms the handling up, and it reminds me of, more old school kind of 90s and 2000s cars with kind of firmer steering wheels. So I quite like it in that setting. In terms of handling, how does it handle? All right. Handling is interesting, guys. I have done a few burnouts now. I've discovered how to do burnouts in the car. In the wet, you can do them, relatively easily. You can slide those rear wheels. Now, traction control, if you've got it turned on, it will prevent you from getting into a real slide. But if you've got it turned on, you can still get a little bit loose, have a little bit of fun, but the traction control system will step in and prevent you from killing yourself or, crashing, which is probably what I would have done without it. So, you can do that in the wet. Now, you can do it in the dry, but you've got to be going around without traction control on. It's pretty hard to get loose, even though there's quite a bit of power. Those tires on the car, they're quite wide tires. There's a lot of EVs that use, they're using really, really thin tires to try and get more efficiency. And that does help, definitely does help with efficiency. But it also means that when it's wet, there's not a lot of traction. So some of these front wheel drive electric cars, skinny tires on them, it gets wet and you feel a bit scared, right? You feel like you can't accelerate properly. Otherwise, you're just going to lose traction. It's sort of like a lot of power going into the front wheels and it's going to overwhelm the tire grip. That I don't find that in this car. I find that the tire grip is actually really, really good unless I'm accelerating really hard and trying to have some fun. Speaking of handling as well, the comfort of the car, I would say it's really similar to the new Tesla Model 3, the Highland. It feels very similar to the Model 3 Highland in terms of its damping. So it's not a car where, you think this is a sports car, but at the same time, it's definitely not one of those, super comfortable, feels like a boat around a corner cars. You know, I don't like those cars. I personally think those super kind of wafty cars where, yeah, you don't feel a whole lot of bumps, but you don't feel the road surface as well. And when you go around a corner, it feels like there's a whole lot of body roll. I think it's a really good, kind of a really good middle ground. So yeah, the handling it's definitely comfortable. It's definitely on the softer side. But when you go around a corner, there's a very little body roll. And I think that's a big advantage to this car. It's certainly not a high car. I mean, it's not made for going off road. So it's a pretty low car. And that means you don't get a lot of body roll. But it's got, you know, suspension that does have some pretty good tuning for bumps. So I find the comfort's good. Where I live, there are the crappiest roads. There's just patchwork roads everywhere. I'm talking shocking. When I've driven other cars that we've had here, I'm in Newcastle. I'm like, man, I'm so uncomfortable. And Shanna, with her cancer, she feels it more than I do. And I can see her like grimacing in some other cars. And I think, and I kind of feel bad for her. But with the G6, we don't have that. It's definitely a more comfortable car. There's no question. I think they've got the damping really spot on. Storage space in the car. I found that if you put the rear seats down, you can fit in a couple of bicycles, like full-size bicycles. Amazing, guys. So what I did is I had to take a couple of bikes to the bike shop to get some repairs that I couldn't do. And so I put the rear seats down. I went, wow, I can fit so much stuff in here. Really cool feature of the G6. It's similar in terms of size to a Model Y. Very similar. It's very, very, very similar in terms of, you know, within a couple of millimeters. But I love the fact that the bonnet is relatively short. If you have a look at some other cars, particularly internal combustion cars, there was my car today when I was parked in the car park, it was sitting behind an MG. The MG looked bigger, right? But it only looked bigger because it had a big bonnet. And I looked inside the car and I thought, this car looks bigger than my G6. And this was not an EV, by the way. And I saw the boot was way smaller than the boot of the G6. I also saw the interior space for the passengers was smaller. The packaging in this car is really good. Having that small bonnet, I like the fact that the car is not being taken. Like, here's the example, right? Look at a Mazda. Look at a Mazda 3, right? Half the car is the bonnet. Yeah, it's insane. It's ridiculous. There's a lot of cars, particularly internal combustion cars, but some EVs where, you know, a big percentage of the car is the bonnet. It's really, really stupid. Doesn't make sense. So that's one of the things I like about the G6. Interior space is good. You can fit stuff in there. We have actually driven the car. We drive it, in fact, weekly with surfboards in the car. And the boys come with me. So there's two boys and dad in the driver's seat. So we'll put one of the seats down and we can stick the boards in that way. We've got some boards that are a bit longer, about 6'8", and the 6'8" boards fit on the diagonal with one seat put down. So you can still have two people sitting in the back with 6'8" boards in the car. That's pretty good, I think. And it's not like uncomfortable. Plenty of space for those 6'8" boards. So a lot of space for stuff in the car. If you want to go on a longer trip, you could put one seat down and still have two seats in the back. And then you can store heaps of stuff. You'd have massive amount of space in there for trips, for family trips. Obviously, I'm quite surprised. The boot, I think, compared to the, say, for example, the BMW X5 we used to have, it's bigger than the boot for the BMW X5. The interior space feels much, much bigger. The rear seat space for this car is way better than the BMW X5. It's like cavernous. It feels like a totally different car in terms of storage space. So honestly, I feel like a lot of these internal combustion cars are very old school and they kind of look big, but they're not all that big on the inside. Yeah. You know what I mean? Go and have a look at them and you think, oh, that looks like a big car. You look on the inside and you're like, oh, I feel a bit cramped in this car. Oh, the boot's not as big as I thought. I feel like the Xpeng G6 is the opposite to that. So there has been some software updates as well. Since I've owned the car, there's been, I think, 2 or 3 software updates, over-the-air updates, where there's been legitimate stuff that's been added to the car, legitimate features that they've added. People have requested things. I'm guessing that's the reason for some of the changes. So that's pretty cool. You can do that. It takes around 10 minutes, pretty easy to do. And I've just thought of my favorite feature in the car. When I first bought it, I said to myself, you know what, I'm going to use that feature. That's cool. The meditation feature. You can press a button and you get all these meditation options. And what it does, it puts the seat into a comfortable position, turns the lights off, and it puts this meditation thing on the screens and it you can go through guided meditations, or you can just go through like a peaceful meditation where they don't say anything. It's just music, and the music bounces around in all the speakers in the car. It feels like full on proper surround sound. It goes from this side to that side, to above here to behind there. You feel like you're in the jungle. You feel like you're in the rainforest. If you choose the rainforest, you feel like you're at the beach. If you choose the beach. I know I've never been good at meditation, but I need to do it. I stress too much about things now. After the last couple of years, I've become a bit more of a stressful person than I used to be. That's not good. That's not good for your life, for your health. It's not good for my kids. And I said to myself, I need to do more meditation. I'm doing more saunas, ice bath, but I'm missing this meditation thing. I've started using the meditation in the Xpeng G6, and boy, I'm terrible at meditation, but with the meditation app in the car, I can do it and I can enjoy it, and I feel like it's working. I'm like, damn, I needed this years ago. I should have been doing this years ago. That's my favorite feature, and it's blowing my mind because I feel like it's almost changing me as a person, kind of helping me to be a better person, to just, relax. Everything's okay. It's going to be all right. And just reset. And I think meditation is extremely valuable for everyone. And the app, you know what? It's getting me to do it. It's there. It's easy to use. And being in the car, I'm away from people. I mean, I work from home. I can't get away from work, right? But when I'm in the car, I feel like I'm not in the house. I'm by myself. And it's the perfect place to meditate. Who would have thought being in a car is the perfect place to meditate? Guys, what are your thoughts? Do you own a G6? Do you own an EV? Got any thoughts or opinions on what I've been talking about? Is this a car you've considered buying? Is there a reason you considered buying it or not? Some of you have emailed me saying that you bought one because of my recommendation. So congratulations. I think it's a great car. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below.